Welcome to the first episode of Vulturescast podcast with Roger Brown and Katie Martin. And we are here to talk about hot topics when it comes to politics and other things.
Pop culture.
Pop culture, anything. Thank you. And, what's your goals that you want to do with this?
Well, first off, let's just say I am on the more liberal side of things. And in the South, it's not the popular opinion, but I have gotten to the point where it's just time to stop getting angry at the more conservative ideas that I don't agree with, and it's time to listen and try to understand the root of that belief, and if the underlying root is similar to my own, maybe I can understand where you're coming from better, and you can understand where I'm coming from, because in the end, we both want what's best for people, for America, for individual people.
Mm-hmm.
It's so tribal right now that no one's listening. Everyone is reacting.
Well, that's on every side.
That's what I'm saying. It's both sides.
I'm more of a libertarian, conservative, and that's the reason I've been texting and writing you a lot and asking your opinions on certain things, is because I don't know many liberals. Most of everybody I know is conservative. So to get your opinion or your idea or pick your brain is what I was looking for, and bringing us together as a United States of America. And even though our history has not been the greatest or not, we are all, at the end of the day, still Americans. And that's our goal, is to bring people together for
common ground.
And we can still have disagreements without burning cities down, without killing people, without coming to physical violence. And that's what we're looking to do here. And this is our first episode, and
bear with us
as we continue to do whatever. Continue to try it. We're not only going to be talking about political, we'll talk about other things.
It's election season.
Yes.
So you're going to get a little bit of politics.
Yeah.
You know?
And I guess we'll start off with
what are we going to say? We technically, I guess, are related.
Yes. We are brother and sister.
So we do like to argue, as siblings do.
So
we're not going to come to blows.
Yeah.
We're used to arguing.
If we do come to blows, it'll be me ducking.
Yeah.
And running.
I'll win.
You probably would. So let's talk about the Supreme Court.
RBG. What a sad day. So I know on the conservative side of things, there's a little cheer that went up. Not that she has passed, but that there is an opening.
But there is an opening for Trump to get another Supreme Court justice.
He get another pick. Now,
and it's going to be a woman. He's going for a woman.
My heart dropped, not only because we lost such an amazing activist for not just the Liberal Party, but just for women, but also knowing that they're not going to stick to the principles that they put to the last term of Obama's presidency when they blocked that Supreme Court for 200 plus days. But, now it's less than
45, something like that, 45 days.
Like less than 2 months, and
so
they're going to
push the steamroller
full
through.
steam ahead there and
And-
fill that spot.
And it should be. And I do see,
But that
I
is
do-
so hypocritical.
it is so, I do see the hypocritical in it, but it's politics. And I agree that it's hypocritical. I totally agree that it is. But to get a conservative in there, that's what the Republicans got to do. Because if not, you get Joe Biden, and that's a whole nother story. Get him in there and picking. I don't want Joe Biden watching my kids or doing anything anywhere that has anything to do with me, much less picking a Supreme Court justice that has once they get elected, they're gonna die in that position. I mean, they never go away. Maybe that's something we need to
Although
change.
they stepped down because they just fully believed that as soon as it's announced if that Trump wins, that two of the conservatives that are on the older
Side,
end of the scale that are going to step down so that he can appoint
two
two
more.
new younger conservative justices. So
I
that's
like
why they were we were holding out that RBG was going to make it through this last round of chemo, but unfortunately she didn't.
And I'm sorry that she passed away. I don't want nobody to die, and fighting cancer is rough. But my problem comes down to with her is she was so liberal. She was for Roe versus Wade.
Well, that people have been for that since the 70s. It wasn't just her.
Well, I know that I do understand that, but around since, by the way, she's the cause of a lot of the way we go into it. As far as her fight for women's rights, I'm all for women's rights.
But women's rights is a part of the whole Roe v. Wade argument. It's women's rights.
Yes. Okay. It's not, in my opinion, it's not right to kill a baby. I believe the father should also, I believe there should be a time limit because abortions, or I don't believe in abortion at all.
I'll say, when I say that I'm pro-choice, doesn't mean that I am pro-abortion. I'm never hoping that's the decision that somebody makes. But I do think that is an individual decision.
Yeah.
I don't think that I could ever make that decision.
But what about this?
But I feel like I don't think that I should be able to tell another woman that she couldn't.
Okay, well, what about this? What about once you have one, you having to get fixed afterwards, to where you can't have multiple abortions? Where's our limit on?
I don't know. That's a
abortions
whole
you
other
can have?
argument. I don't know, because when it is
Sorry, you're looking for hysterectomy.
look at
Hysterectomy?
that's the word you're looking for.
Oh yeah, hysterectomy.
You were struggling.
Or I guess not even that necessarily. Just get your tubes tied.
Yeah.
But I'm not for it as a means of birth control. Like, oh, I got pregnant again. Time to go get another abortion. That's a whole other can of worms. Like, you got some other issues going on. But
How many?
if someone is raped or it's incest or this person is heavily into drugs and they're not going to get clean, they're not going to get the care that baby needs. They're most likely going to have a very unhealthy pregnancy, possibly not even
be able to carry it.
be able to carry all the way
You
through.
end up with the baby that's addicted to drugs.
Yeah.
Okay, with my faith being a Christian, I struggle with incest and rape because at that point I'm kind of leaning towards, yes, the girl should have
The choice.
The choice. But it comes back with my faith. Well, God's got a plan for you. And my
And I think
phone's
that
going off.
it is. I mean,
So unprofessional.
it's gonna be different for each person. Like, you might have the mental fortitude, to have a child that is a result of someone sexually assaulting you. But then the next woman might not be able to live with that.
You can do adoption at that point.
I'm talking about see herself growing and knowing that they are carrying their rapist's child. Like, some people just can't do that. I mean, not everybody has the same
mindset.
Well, not just mindset, but the strength, the mental strength that it takes to do that. Like, they might never be the same.
Yeah, but
It's a complicated.
It's a complicated issue.
And no one is ever going to agree 100% on that. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. There's different degrees of agreeing and disagreeing.
Well, once 2 months or 2 weeks, I think in the first trimester.
Oh yeah, no, late term abortions freak me out. I don't like to think about it.
Well, you gotta think about it because that's an issue.
Are they legal in most
partial
places?
Birth,
They are, but
and then partial birth is legal in 3 states now.
Well, I think after a certain amount of time, that's your cutoff. You know, the one issue that I have
But
though,
places like New York, it's not. They're doing it.
yeah, that's kind of that freaks me out. I don't like that. But I don't know what the right cutoff is because a lot of people don't even know they're pregnant through the first trimester, which is crazy to me, but it happens all the time.
Yeah, but not as much as they are people that do know. Most people do know that they're pregnant. It's just rare occasions that you don't know. And when I mean rare, it happens, but it's not unheard of. Most people know before they're pregnant earlier. And what I get at is you shouldn't have to. Then the government we shouldn't pay for abortions, our taxpayer dollars. If you want to get an abortion,
I don't think that that we get any national funding for that.
Planned Parenthood.
But they don't pay for a Planned Parenthood isn't just an abortion clinic; it's a women's health clinic. Yeah. And I don't think any of the national funding can go towards that area of care, like the abortion side.
But
because they help with adoption and they help with just
other things,
like regular, like yearly women's checkups. Like that's.
But we fund them to stay open, so it is going to keep that open. We shouldn't fund anything that does with abortion. I don't think that we should, and we'll have to look that up.
I'm not the details.
We'll have to get
I haven't looked. I know I've heard, but I can't recall it.
Kim's our thing. Why don't you look up real fast how much money
if federal tax money pays for the abortion side of Planned Parenthood.
But
I don't know. I feel like this took a turn into in-depth abortion, and that wasn't the intent.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But going back to her, that's where I have my disagreements with her and stuff, and I really don't know too much about her other than that.
Yeah, and that was later when that became more of an issue. Legally, she started to support it. But she did most of her work when from the time she graduated law school up until she came into the Supreme Court. It was really fighting for women's equality.
Yeah.
Equal pay, equal opportunity in the workforce. Yeah.
So moving on, I guess.
Yeah. The debates.
Let's talk about the debates a little bit.
Yeah.
And you're obviously going to vote for Joe Biden.
I am. I can't vote for Trump.
Why not? Tell me why you can't vote for Trump.
I just find him repugnant.
That bad?
Yeah.
I'm obviously going to vote for Trump. I didn't want him to get elected in 2016. I was actually Rand Paul. I wanted Rand Paul to get elected, and
I was pro Hillary in 16, which I know is wildly unpopular with you.
Trump was like Rand Paul on steroids, and that's how he is. And I got a whole bunch of topics. I think that when they do debate, in 9 days?
9 days.
9 days now, when they do debate, all Trump's got to do is piss off Joe Biden. If he can throw a jab or two and piss off Joe Biden, the debates are over with. Trump wins, hands down.
I don't know. I think it
What's
could go
your
the other
opinion
way
on
as
that?
well. If Trump gets really defensive about something,
Or
he
if he-
goes off the rails too.
But if he pisses off Biden, Biden's going to stutter. He's going to be.
Well, he can't help that.
He's
got
going to
stutter.
be. Well, even though there's stutter, he's going to stutter. He's going to get things mixed up. He ain't going to know what he's saying. It's going to be worse than I am right now doing this first podcast. Okay, he's not going to know what to do, what hit him. And I've actually read both of Donald Trump Jr.'s books, Triggered and Liberal Privilege. Just got done with Liberal Privilege, and it was
He's got more than 2 books, doesn't
Donald Trump Jr.
he? Yeah.
I think he's only got 2.
Well, he's got one where he's like
The Triggered.
sitting on a stump on the cover, like deep thoughts type book.
I don't know. I'll have to look. We'll
I
have to
think
look
he's only
that
got
one
2 books, but they got different covers on them.
up. Okay. I
Because
think
I
he's
remember
got 2
I
books.
watched some segment where they were making fun of his thoughtful picture on the front, sitting on a stump, like he's so rustic. He's from
Well,
New York.
Well, he is from New York, but did you also know that he is an outdoorsman?
Yeah, I know
from
he
New
likes
York.
to kill animals that have no reason to be killed. I know that.
No, he kills animals and he eats them. He
He
actually.
killed like a cheetah. Is he gonna eat that?
Well, it is sport too, hunting. I don't guess you would eat a cheetah. But he actually spent summers overseas and with his grandparents and where they came from. And he got to see communism living in them countries. And Donald Trump,
Aren't they from Germany?
no, they're from like Czech Republic or somewhere.
Eastern Europe.
Yeah, Russia. Let me look that up, see where they're from.
Because their name wasn't actually Trump. They changed their name. I remember that when they got here. When they did.
Trump's got 2 books, Triggered and Liberal Privilege.
I wonder what that was. I can't remember. I just remember the I think I watched it on Bill Maher. And it was years ago now. They were making fun of it.
That was going to be the Triggered because they put a new cover on it that says, Daddy, please love me, or something.
Did they really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where's he from? On his visit. That's all his visits. Wikipedia and shows him with a hat on. He's from some Eastern Europe.
Who's Trump?
Yeah,
Trump's family.
Trump's family.
Like his great grandfather or great somebody came over and they changed their name.
Fred Trump. That's his dad and his grandfather.
Well, it was before that. It was a couple generations back.
But he would go over there and visit there in the summer.
Germany.
And
Germany. Yeah.
You was right. Me wrong again. But that was before the wall came down.
Yeah.
and everything. But his second book, and he talks about, and he comes up with much stuff that Biden's done. Hunter Biden has done with Rosemont. Uh, Another reason I don't like Joe Biden is I believe also China has got, he's going to be their puppet because they got so much dirt on him. You can't give somebody
People say the same thing though
3.8.
about Trump and Russia.
Well, I believe Russia's our enemy and China is our competitor.
Try to get Trump to say that.
What?
That Russia is our enemy.
He is our, he does say
it
it.
to Putin's face.
What? Because you got to be cordial. You can't deal with, you don't, what you can tell one person, you don't tell to another person. It's all in, how you deal with things. You're not just going to go be like, just go off, be like, I hate you right in front of your face and
Well, I would
and
not go
on
that far,
public
but
or
you could, like, presidents have 100% called out country while visiting that country and having, like, a press conference. But he doesn't. He, like, kisses up.
well,
And it's not to everybody. It seems to be him specifically. Like, he really wants him to like him or something. It's just weird.
I don't think it's that weird. I don't think that him kissing up or not kissing up, I think he's got a stern relationship with him. But Putin's also a smart leader.
Well, he was a
and
spy.
He's got to be.
He is very cagey. And they say, he doesn't look it, but they say he's extremely charming.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes.
Well, they say he's also built, works out pretty good.
Oh, you see all of his shirtless horseback riding pictures?
I've seen it. But when you just go back to what Joe Biden's done, how do you explain away what Hunter did in Ukraine? How do you justify that? What Biden said to them, where he made the lead prosecutor get fired.
But he was working on that. People had been trying to get that guy out. He was corrupt. They were trying to get him out for years.
But he was investigating
But they had
Rosemont.
he had already deemed that as nothing there. He had already cleared that before he was even taken out of office or his position.
No.
Yeah.
Uh-uh.
Uh-huh.
You're going to have to show me. You're going to have to, he was still in prosecution. He was still looking under investigation.
Well, I mean, it might not have been closed, but they talked to I watched this whole long special on it.
Okay,
where they said that he has said there's nothing there. They had not found
Pull up
anything.
the clip. Pull up the clip of Joe Biden talking about getting the son of a bitch fired. Or I don't know if you can say that.
You can say whatever the hell you want.
Oh, okay.
Just
Podcast.
It's you just put the little explicit E in the corner, then they'll know what to expect.
Pull that up on the computer for me. Everybody's seen it. Everybody's heard about it. Where
Well,
he's
he's
talking about getting the son of a bitch
but it
fired
didn't have.
and withholding $1 billion.
But he wasn't
Unless-
saying that because he was investigating his son. They were talking about it because people had for years been trying to get this guy out because he was so corrupt.
So there is corruption in
They were
Ukraine.
working on getting him
I
out
agree with
before
that.
that investigation
There's a lot of
even started.
There's a lot of corruption out there. There's corruption everywhere. But
that government wanted assistance getting him out. The Ukraine government.
yeah,
So we helped them.
by saying you fire him or we won't give you $1 billion.
So I thought, well, it worked.
When you're withholding money of aid from somebody unless they fire somebody, that's called bribery.
But withholding aid is not necessarily a stranger to Trump either. He withheld aid to California after the fires because they didn't vote for him.
No, not because he
Yes.
didn't vote for it.
Yes.
Come on.
Yes. His Homeland Security people have come out and said that.
He's been on top of all giving aid and this and that. It's because California keeps on having sanctuary cities and
they don't like him.
and
And he
there's
knows
not
that. They're very
supposed
vocal
to
about it.
be sanctuary cities. I believe, here it is, here's the clip.
Loan guarantees. And I went over, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Keith, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out the president. I said, no, I'm not going to, we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority, you're not the president. The president said, I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting $1 billion. I said, you're not getting $1 billion, I'm going to be leaving here. I think it was about 6 hours. I looked at it, leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting money. Well, son of a bitch. Got fired.
Oh, son of a bitch. He got fired.
What do you know? But
So-
didn't you just say earlier, that's politics?
It is. I did with the pushing the Supreme Court justice through. Yeah, I did.
It's all a little bit crooked, no
Yeah.
matter what side.
I understand. There's a bunch of stuff that we go back to Joe Biden being racist.
I just don't
Where
don't
he's,
see him as racist. Where does that come from?
well, him saying if you vote for Trump, then you're not black.
That was
Kind
a
of-
joke.
That was kind of racist.
And it wasn't, I don't think that was coming from a racist. He was just saying, I think, that
His,
the majority of black people who vote for black interests don't vote for Trump. He's saying essentially that Trump doesn't have the black interest at heart. I think that's the root of that.
he his voting to keep schools desegregated. Not wanting to.
He was against busing in the 60s?
It was the 70s.
70s, 60s, 70s, whatever. But he reversed his position on that.
Yeah, throughout the years, but
Well, I mean, but he's not racist now.
Saying
if
I
he
don't want
ever
my
was,
kids
he's
to
not
live-
now.
I don't want my kids to live in a jungle.
The schools would be a
Jungle.
racial jungle.
Yeah,
Yeah, that wasn't the smartest thing to say.
pretty racist.
That was I will admit, I don't know where that came from, that particular quote. I mean, I know he said
Because
it,
it
but
was during the 70s where you didn't have this PC culture and you can say what you want to.
oh yeah, but
And now you get banned.
but it's still
or
racist whether
they
it's politically
come-
correct or not.
come off of it, yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't.
I also
That was
believe
not
that
good.
Joe Biden has helped China in the last 50 years. He's been in office 50 years. Where was your grandparents 50 years ago? Your mom, dad, 50 years
My
ago?
mom was
Not born?
being born,
Barely born?
barely born.
He was in office when your mama got born.
Oh yeah,
Probably your dad too, because how many lands?
Yeah. Your
but I mean,
grandparents
there are a lot
were
of people,
adults.
not just him.
I know, but I'm just, in my opinion, that's
I mean, John
part of the
Lewis,
swamp.
the civil rights icon that died this year, he was in Congress for decades.
Touch on also what you was telling me about the age of the average congressman versus the age of the real fast.
Okay, so
Touch on that and talk about that.
I've got to find
It was. You said that average congressman was what 57 years old or something like that. It's somewhere around there. I don't know
Yeah,
if it's
I
that.
got it
And
saved
the
somewhere.
average American is 37.
It's like 39.
39.
37 or 39.
Something
but
right there. You had to fact check
The
that.
Speaker of the House.
Can you
is
fact check
80.
that real fast?
What now?
The average political age versus the average age in America.
So let's say, so our Speaker of the House is 80.
Yeah.
Our president is 74.
A young 74.
Oh,
Young 74.
what a bunch of bull! He's in
Look
terrible physical shape compared to Biden.
Well,
Biden
y'all say
runs.
he plays. How can he run in his basement? He must have a big
my.
basement. They say he plays golf. Three rounds every weekend,
So he moves his arms.
and
So
has to walk,
extra-
swing.
You know he does not walk. He has his tub of lard in a golf cart.
He plays golf. Another
57 to 61.
57 to 61, and the average America is 39. And
I'll say Bernie Sanders was close to 80. He was the other, top candidate. Biden is 70.
poor Bernie keeps getting
Five.
screwed. And you can't,
Bernie.
when you talk about Russia and being in
38.
with Russia, there's a clip of Bernie naked at some Russian festival party, dinner or whatever, singing and carrying on. You never seen that clip?
Is it real?
Yeah.
I don't see him as the stripping naked and partying.
Well, his shirt was off.
Okay, so that's not
Yeah.
naked. Okay, I was like,
Crazy
I don't
things
think
when they're
that
young.
is real. I think you've been duped.
His shirt was off. And this is circling back around to get back on topic about the debates. Because we've been way off topic on this first one.
Took some side.
And I think that if he gets him mad, Biden gets mad that Trump got it.
So do we know, is there going to be a fact checker on stage? Because that's
I
what
don't know,
one of they
but-
asked. I think that would be really entertaining for both sides.
Well, I
To
like the whole Joe Rogan to be asking questions. They can do this on.
That would be really.
They can do this on a podcast with the technology we got today. And there he is. This is back there in the 60s, 70s.
Yeah, they're at some kind of party type thing.
And which one is Bernie?
Right there.
Oh, I see him. Can't miss that.
Yeah,
You
he's
see
not
him?
aged really.
It's like Larry David sitting there.
I just think that Biden is part of the problem in politics. We've had 50 years of him. He's been in office for 50 years.
No, I do.
And that's what.
As I don't know if this is a popular opinion. This is my opinion. There should be term limits for every.
Well, Rand Paul's trying to do that and make term limits, and Ron Paul.
I know that's probably not popular, but I just feel like that's the only way you're going to get young blood in there. Because once somebody has the name recognition and they're running over and over, no one can beat them just because they've been there and everybody knows who they are, even if they're not getting anything done.
Well, the one thing Trump has done, and you got to give him credit for this, is he's brought attention to politics.
Well, he definitely brought attention. I don't know if it's.
And people are starting to look into paying attention to what politicians are doing a lot more than they were with Bush, Obama, or Clinton, where people really didn't talk. Politics wasn't mainstream, I guess, in everyday normal people's lives.
Well, a lot of it is. It was mainstream, but it wasn't when you turn on,
The TV.
CNN or Fox News, literally every segment has something about the president. And it wasn't like that. It used to get like regular national, international just
News.
happenings.
Yeah.
And it became very centered on Donald Trump, which I think actually helped him because that's all anybody would talk
I
about.
think him being bold and
But I mean, it's not
coming
even
out
him
and
talking
the way-
about, it's not even like political stuff. I mean, it's somebody's accused him of sexual harassment, or he has said somebody is stupid, or he has said John McCain was burning in hell. Like,
well,
really like bizarre stuff for a president to say, but that's all anybody talks about. And it gets to the point where you have one side going, ugh, he's disgusting, and the other side saying all they ever do is pick on him. Because
Well,
that's all
you got
they
to
talk
yes.
about.
And I feel like that is how it is. You either totally hate Trump,
And there's no in between.
there's no in between, or you totally love him. I feel like if you like Trump or even somewhat like him, you have got to stand up for him and defend him through it because there's no fairness. And because you got people, the never Trumpers, that don't care what he's done with prison reform or rolling back regulations or bringing back jobs to America or anything. Like I was telling you earlier, Biden has been 50 years in office. He has sent millions and millions of jobs away from the United States. And Trump has stopped and put American first, bringing back jobs. And just with the IP that we was talking about, where
Intellectual property.
yeah,
For those who,
like we was talking about, if we can just get that down to a regular level where they don't steal our IP every time we go over there to do business with them, get it down to what your IP, the chances of your IP getting stolen in America by another American, get that down to that level, it would put $107 billion in sales yearly back into the economy. It would bring back 21 million jobs, and it would hurt China. It would bring China down as this, because China wants to rule the world. And we can all agree on that. And that's where I think that he is in bed with China. Him saying that they're not bad people, folks. Yeah, they are. They withheld.
I think
They withheld
maybe the Chinese government, but Chinese people aren't
in general.
bad people.
Well, yeah, but the Chinese government is what we're talking about. And like with the Department of Commerce said that 97% of our medicines get sent from overseas. A lot of people don't realize this, but they threatened to withhold medicine from us during the COVID-19 when it happened, and ibuprofen 95% gets made overseas. 91% of cortisone gets made. 70% of
acetaminophen.
thank you. You know this better than I do. 40 to 45% of penicillin, and that all gets made overseas. We're the number one export in them raw materials. But they were threatened to withhold medicine from us during this. And I also found out that they banned travel in their own country, flying, but they still allowed people to fly out of Wuhan and go to Europe, America.
So they ban people flying
in their own country. Like you couldn't take a flight across their country.
But you could fly out
Yes.
of the country.
They put a ban on flying inside the country. So they knew that COVID was bad when it happened. And the WHO
Mm-hmm.
and them, I know it's a talking point of the right, but it's almost like they're in cahoots with each other. And the CDC, most Americans, conservative, have got to where they almost don't trust
Almost.
these.
They don't trust.
They don't trust.
They don't trust anybody who tells them something they don't want to hear at this point.
Well, no, I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's the case. I think there is the extreme, the alt-right, or the left, that the far left that does this. But that's it. They'll be willing to look at the facts, and as long as you can pull up facts, I believe that most Americans would be like, oh, okay, them are facts, let's listen to it. But when you get on TV...
You've got a president who believes in alternative facts.
Alternative facts.
It's not a real thing.
Alternative facts?
That was his talking point. You don't remember that?
I don't know what the alternative facts.
That was Kellyanne Conway's, catchphrase for a while. It was, this is his alternative facts. I'm like, you mean lies?
Speaking of her, she stepped
She's
down.
out.
She's out.
Because all it took was one bratty teenager to get her stepped down. We could have done this years ago.
But it's crazy that it's that divided. That's how divided we are. Is her husband...
Her husband is...
leftist.
But he is a conservative, too. He's just a never-Trumper.
Yeah, he's a never-Trumper, and she is actually working on the Trump camp side. And you talking about a house divided. I know you see the Auburn sign in the background, and they make house divided, but never realized that house is divided to this degree.
The house
politics.
is split right down the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure that they have. It's a very interesting around the dinner table.
I don't
when it
think they
comes to
sit at the
politics.
dinner table. I think
They both go to their own
I
bedrooms.
think they hate each other. According to the
Probably.
daughter, they're both crazy. But I mean, hey, what do I know? She's
She's a bratty teenager.
She's 15 years old, so she hates her parents anyway.
So, Hunter Biden. The left don't like to talk about Hunter Biden. Why is that? Why don't they? They don't want to investigate what goes on behind with the Bidens in Ukraine, and they say, well, you can't investigate him. He's a president. That'll affect the election, right? That's the left's argument.
I don't know. I haven't heard that.
Well, the left don't want, if you investigate him and put, like,
I mean,
they did
I think
with
the left's
Hillary.
argument is he's been investigated. Like, there was no there that was found. So, why are we circling it still?
I don't know, because it's just crazy that, like, the Hunter Biden and the Chris Hines, John Kelly's stepson, when they started Rosemont, you go to China with your dad on a business trip, and you come back and you got a $1.5 billion contract to go overseas and build houses after the Iraq War. And could you imagine if Donald Trump Jr. got a contract from somebody right now to go overseas and start building houses, what the left would say?
I thought it would be an explosion. I mean,
He would be in jail. They'll be calling for him to be in jail. They'll be saying, hey, you cannot do this. This is not right.
I don't know. Everything I've ever heard Biden and Hunter say is they have always kept Hunter's business world completely separate. They don't discuss. And it's the same with Biden's brothers. Like, he has one brother that is all about, like, private schools or charter schools or something.
He
But-
had a bunch of charter schools. That's I want to say it's Frank. See if it's Frank Biden that does the charter schools.
Well, either way, he uses the Biden name for support and this and that, and he lobbies for it. But Biden himself is against funding these private schools. So he's not acting in the interest of his brothers, but the brother is using the Biden name for recognition.
Well, the Hunter.
Hunter uses his name. I mean, he's got a famous dad. Get him a job. But his dad's not like arranging things behind the scenes to get him these jobs. All you have to do is use the name.
Then how's Hunter have anything to do? He what did he go to school for?
Well, I don't know. I didn't do in-depth research on it.
He goes to I don't know what he went to school for.
You don't
I know that he got kicked out of the military for cocaine.
I was gonna say he had a drug problem.
He had a drug
for
problem
many years.
and then in his late 20s, I guess, that's when he started Rosemont business with Chris Hines, and he's over there in Ukraine, can't even speak Ukraine, but he's got a
What
position.
about this other guy, John Kelly's? Why isn't nobody focusing on him?
Chris Hines?
Yeah, whoever this guy, Haynes.
Well, I think they should focus on him, but John
I mean,
Kelly.
John Kelly worked for the president and no one said a word.
Yeah, but John Kelly ain't running for president right now.
But he was the closest, like, advisor to the president at one point.
Yeah, Obama, right?
John
No.
Kelly? That's Trump.
John Kelly, okay, Trump.
John Kelly was the one that quit.
Hey, there's bad apples. Everybody can't be right. But
Are you talking about who's for the charter schools or?
yeah, the dude that does with charter schools.
One of the Biden brothers.
It's Frank or Jim or somebody.
There's
And then-
James, and then
There's a Jim.
Well, Jim, I think, might be James.
Right.
People who have the name Jim sometimes.
One and the other got into a car accident in Florida, and he wasn't driving, so he didn't get a DUI. But they were don't
It's
know.
Frank.
Frank is the one that does the charter schools.
Mm-hmm.
He's over charter schools. He got caught lying about the percentage of the charter schools, but
Yeah, he was upping the
Percentage,
occupancy
yeah.
of.
and I know Trump's not the PC and he's out there, but he's like your old grandfather that.
He ain't nothing like my grandfather.
But he's like the old grandfather that just says
Likes to slip his hand down women's skirts.
like Biden.
Biden has never slipped his hand down a woman's
No,
skirt.
he just sniffs the back of their necks and stuff.
Oh, well, it's better than
Grabbing.
raping them or sexually assaulting them. How many women now have come up against him over the years? What, over a dozen?
Yeah, but do you believe him? Do you not?
But you believe this against Biden?
What?
That he's perverted because you have a picture that seems like he's close to somebody?
No, I believe that Biden's a creepy old guy because I've seen him sniffing young girls' hairs in videos or touching them inappropriate. You can actually look on the internet and see that by their facial expressions that they do not like being grabbed or touched the way he's doing it.
Well, then come out and say something.
Well, yeah. And I think there is people that have came out and said stuff, but I don't know. You just look at just I don't know. I wouldn't let him look around my baby girl. That's a
Well, I wouldn't
no-go.
let Trump around her either. He said he would do his own daughter if she wasn't related to him. That's disgusting.
Did he actually say that though?
Yes, on TV. That's
I don't know.
disgusting.
Let's see if I can
Imagine you
pull.
saying that about little Gabriella. If she
Just
wasn't.
don't say her name out loud.
Well, I mean.
Well, I don't know. I guess we can. Everybody knows her. But I just don't want people like looking her up and trying to.
How
Her
are they going
have
to look
her
her up?
own
Does she have a
page.
social media?
No, not yet. I'm trying to keep her off social
I
media
think
as long as you
you've
can.
got a ways to go.
Let's see. Trump.
He said it. She was sitting right beside him. Because she just kind of had to laugh and roll her eyes.
I think I remember that.
It was so uncomfortable. I was like, ooh.
Yeah. Trump doing his own daughter.
Yeah.
And he said he would date her, but essentially.
Okay, well, see, that's different.
That's like he didn't mean the same thing.
Like, let's say a mother saying, well, I would date my son if
Oh, that's
he's
creepy too.
he's a very a good guy.
Not that you would date him, but he's a good catch for some young whoever out there. Not that you would date him. It's gross.
This thing sucks. I gotta look it up on here.
What are you looking up?
Trump saying that he'll do his.
That's my job.
Do his own daughter.
That's it. That's right there.
Unsettling records.
Casual incest jokes. Oh, it's a terrible headline.
Yeah, it is a very bad headline.
Is it him just
Him talking in an interview.
on The View?
Is that you?
Hey, so, Donald.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
Let's
I'm
don't
ready to
get
ask this question, but
me
what would
started
you
on
do
The
play
View.
for Ivanka on the cover?
Well, they change co-hosts so much. I
That's gonna be
couldn't.
an interesting answer. She hit any more
Well,
than
see,
that.
they're talking about putting her on the cover of.
Not really. It would depend on what was inside the magazine.
And, now, if she posed, it would be fine, but if
See, they're talking about her posing on a
Well, see,
for a
that's
magazine.
correct. That's
Well,
what's
so?
correct.
And
You
there was not-
assume
Well-
there'll be nude
Right,
photos.
you do assume that.
Okay, she,
But if they were, you wouldn't have an issue with it then. If they were using her to,
I don't think Ivanka would do that inside the magazine, although she does have a very nice name. I've said that if Ivanka were my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her.
Oh, it's so weird. Stop. You're hurting her.
You're gonna see her like, oh yeah, he just said that.
Who are you, Woody Allen?
Who are you, Woody Allen?
I don't think that as bad as you made it out to be. They were actually talking about her posing on a magazine, and I don't know if it was Playboy or Vanity Fair.
It's Playboy.
It was Playboy. Well, I wouldn't want my daughter.
Either way, it doesn't care. I don't care. He said she had a nice physique, and that if he wasn't related to her, he would be dating her. It's gross.
Possibly be dating her.
But he would.
Also, we do things totally different here, obviously, for this first episode. Remember, we should have did this. Ring the bell, click the bell, hit the like button for to get more videos like this, to hear us go off on rants.
Oh, yeah.
we'll be better organized as we go forward. But hit that subscriber button, and I'm thinking that we'll be giving away Vulturecast t-shirts. We got to start some kind of giveaway or something like that to do that. So the debate in 9 days, and we're so when we first started talking politics, your sister was like, "Let's go. We gotta go. Like right now, we're leaving."
She's so adamantly against anything political.
Or our sister.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But she's like, "Let's go." We was over there at her dad's and
She's thoroughly
just
uninterested.
left.
Finds it tedious when people talks about it, and I love to talk about it.
We can talk about it for hours. You're doing your thinking thing like Donald Trump. But when we were talking, I love to argue with you about politics. And it'll come back to me in a sec. Oh yeah, you said that you liked some of Donald Trump's policies.
No,
You said that
I said I
you
don't
wished
dislike him necessarily for his policy. I dislike him as a human being.
you disliked, but you ain't never met him.
His public persona, then he's gross. I don't like him. I don't
But
like him.
you don't like who he is in the public. But I could have swore that day you said you liked his policies. His policies
That
weren't
would make
bad.
me conservative.
But like prison reform,
And has he done a whole lot for prison reform? He's let a few people out of jail when Kim Kardashian asked him to.
how much?
But
How many people have been out on prison reform?
I mean, like, individuals
Trump.
with their sentences commuted, and that's not reform. That's just letting a few people out here and there. Reform means system-wide. You make changes as to
And
not allowing there to be for-profit prisons or having
3,100 people have been let out. 3,100 people about his prison reform is not just a few people.
it's
3,100.
not a lot considering the amount of people we have incarcerated in
Well,
this country.
I agree.
We have more people incarcerated
per capita
than anybody else.
Yes. And I agree that that's wrong. I agree that there's something other.
Charges too.
What?
A lot of it's because of weed.
What weed charges?
Yeah, like non-violent offenders.
What are you doing over there?
I'm working on Gabriella's birthday stuff.
Her birthday stuff. You know, I wished so bad that her birthday fell on my birthday. I tried to bribe her doctor with a whole new deck to take her on the 14th.
He did.
I literally did. And then, like, after she was born, I was like, you could have got a deck if you had just gave her, like, 3 days ago.
Why did you wanted her to share a birthday?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
I just thought it would be cool. As a new dad, being able to share a birthday with your daughter. She probably wouldn't like it as she got older.
I was gonna
but-
say I wouldn't want to share a birthday.
But
That's just my selfishness.
I would-
I like the presents.
But I was like, after she was born, I was like, see, you could have made a joke. You could have had a deck. And she's like, really? Like, she thought I was like, no. And Kim was like, he's dead serious. He would have gave you like $5,000 to,
Private medical official. That's great.
but I love her female doctor. I did not like her going to Princeton.
Did you have the baby at Princeton?
Yes.
Like Walker or
No, Birmingham.
Birmingham. She,
I used to cover the mother baby at Princeton.
Yeah, I love
Did
Dr.
you?
Cooper.
but Dr. Cooper, I
He's
love
the
her.
number one doctor in the state.
She is awesome. She's done a lot of good for Kim, and she's a good doctor.
She's more like with your beliefs on your side.
She's more liberal.
He's like, maybe I'm changing my mind a little bit.
Yeah.
No,
I was thinking that maybe I really don't like Katie that much. But we've always been able to talk politics or anything ever since we were young. I mean, I remember talking politics and things, I guess, when you was, I don't know how old I was. I know you was in high school when we first started talking, or junior high. How old were you when your dad married your mother?
11?
Was,
Maybe?
you was 11? Yeah. Yeah, I remember you was young and you just,
Because I think Christopher was around 13.
and I was 18. So even at 18 and 11, you was like talking politics. 13, 14, 15, more like it. I don't
I
think
think
we
at that
actually
point-
talked at 11, but we
Yeah.
talked
At that
politics
point,
at
I
14.
think it was my introduction to politics was George W. Bush.
George Bush.
Yeah.
So do you like George Bush?
As a human being, I didn't like his policy. I thought he was a relatively good guy, though. Like, if 9/11 had happened, like, last year, I can 100% say, with no doubt in my mind, the words, "we love our Muslim brothers and sisters," would not have come out of Trump's mouth. But it did come out of Bush's mouth because he wanted people
What,
to
last
not
year?
target, right at
no.
9/11.
Okay.
That
He
would
got some real hate on that one.
Well, also,
Well, yeah, but he just didn't want people
To
to
escalate
start
it.
targeting
Mhm.
because that extremism is not the mainstream of Muslim faith.
Mm-mm.
It's actually a peaceful religion. Those are like the
extremists.
crazy end of the scale. He just didn't want Americans to turn on other Muslim Americans.
Yeah.
And he made that statement.
Well, if Trump would have been in office, I doubt that 9/11 would have happened. I think 9/11 had a lot to do with.
We're
the
not going to go
Bushes.
into the conspiracy theories on that.
Well,
Yeah,
I think the
all day.
9/11 had it. It was because of the Bushes. I don't know. I got in on Clinton. I always thought Clinton. I was a young kid, and
The only thing I remember about Clinton
is,
was his interviews about Monica.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman,
I
and I always
clearly
thought
remember
it was
watching
cool.
that.
Yeah, I did too. And I guess I was like 12. And when he actually said it, you remember watching him say that?
On TV.
How old were you?
I was young. He started,
You had to be like 3.
I was very young. Because
It was in 96. So
I was 4.
it was 4.
I just remember it being on TV. It was
Yeah,
it was like
everywhere.
major
Everywhere.
news.
I know, and I always thought, I was like, Bill Clinton's cool, man. You know,
What?
that's
Why?
back then. Well, I mean, he was getting.
Typical teenage thought.
Because
Yeah.
he had a hot young intern.
Yeah.
You thought it was because it was that Eminem videos. I bet helped. Where
Nah,
he's pretending to be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but I do think that he was cool because he was getting some from his intern inside the Oval
And
Office.
smoking weed.
That is.
But he didn't
And
inhale.
Oh, he didn't inhale. Yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know
Terrible
that he didn't
reason
inhale
to like somebody.
at that age. But I just thought he was cool. And as I grew up older, I realized he wasn't that cool. And, you know, we had the internet boom in the 90s. And we didn't owe that much money. How much money did we owe as a country during Bill Clinton?
Oh, he balanced the deficit. We didn't have it. deficit under him.
Yeah, but
We actually went into surplus.
well, when you got the technology, the internet boom, it's gonna be hard not to.
But I mean,
Right.
I think that's the last president that we have surplus under. We've not had one since then.
And we
Probably won't
probably will
ever-
ever have one.
Ever again.
I believe that we'll have a new union, a new United States before we have a surplus
It's
or a
Maybe
new
$1
way.
trillion, $1.4 trillion,
What?
1.4 trillion under Clinton.
So it was surplus
No, debt.
debt. So there was 1.4 trillion under Clinton. When's the last time we had a surplus?
I thought we had one under him.
I thought we did too, but
It may.
Maybe I'm wrong.
we might be wrong. So let's go on and touch on some other topics. Sports. I haven't even paid attention to sports this year. I don't think nobody has.
Because it's boring.
Other than like the NBA and Black Lives Matter.
But I mean, they're getting attention, but people aren't watching like they normally do because there's no crowds. It's not good.
Yeah, it's not good. But it goes to show you that how little we need things like that. Movies and actors, we don't need
No, and why on earth do they make so much damn money?
who.
2001.
Actors and athletes.
I don't know how actors make so much money.
I mean,
I can understand athletes to a degree how they make so much money, but
I can't.
not as much as they make. They make more than doctors and brain
well,
surgeons.
that you
and
know why that is, right?
something's wrong.
Because you got revenue that gets produced. All this revenue gets produced by the NFL, by the owners of the teams.
Well, I know, but my God,
And-
put that money towards their community or something.
Well,
You don't need that much money.
a lot of them do, but if you are headlining for a team and your owner brings in, I don't know, $10 billion a year.
Well, he don't need that much money either. He ain't
Okay,
doing
let's
nothing
just
but
say
owning the team.
he brings in $10 billion a year off the team sport or whatever. I mean, you're entitled to some of that,
Oh yeah. Well then, yeah, that's 100%. I'm just talking about the vast difference that these people are getting, and they're not really putting anything towards society except for
Okay.
entertainment.
Yeah.
But teachers, police officers, firefighters, social workers,
But see, so how?
wildly underpaid.
But you can't. Yeah, they are underpaid, but
And they're
you're
helping
not
people.
selling. Y'all are not generating revenue.
I mean, I know that.
That's why they are able to get paid so much.
I'm saying, well, I mean, I understand the reasoning. I just don't think it's fair.
It's not fair. I believe that people should get paid more, and than they do. But it's just the way it is. And
Oh, yeah, well, it's not going to change, but
well,
Just don't like
it can change, but
It's
it's
not
going to
gonna.
take people talking about it and going out and doing something about it.
no, because people like money too much. The richest people are always going to
More.
want more. Yeah, they're always going to want more.
I don't know. Some
Why
people.
on earth would Jeff Bezos has decided that he needed to all of a sudden buy grocery stores and newspapers and all this when Amazon was already more than enough?
Because it's
Because he wanted more.
I don't know. I think it's for a lot of people. It's the thrill.
It's
of,
greed.
It's the thrill of building something.
It's
'Cause
greed.
Well, hang on. Hear me out. Listen to me. So you've already started out in building Amazon, which you did in the 90s, 80s, 90s, I guess. and now Amazon is 14% of retail
Mhm.
in the United States. It covers 14% of retail, so of all retail. But it's already running. Amazon is going to run whether Jeff Bezos is there or not.
Just saying, so why not just sell it off and start on something else?
That's what he's doing.
He didn't sell Amazon.
Well, I ain't saying he's selling Amazon off, but he's going into groceries. He's going into space.
Well, he
And
did the groceries, he added that into Amazon. It's
Yeah.
all together now.
Yeah.
He's just building that empire bigger
and bigger and bigger and bigger, and eventually they'll
And eventually
Eventually
he's
they're
gonna
gonna-
kill out all these,
mom and pops.
yeah.
He's done it. Look at
Well,
J.C.
yeah.
Penney's.
Well,
They're about to go bankrupt.
yeah.
And Macy's
Macy's and Sears and
Sears,
Goodies.
Goodies. I forgot all about Goodies.
Oh,
That's
my
been-
grandmother wiped out Goodies and
Yeah.
downtown.
Was that a nationwide
Mhm.
company?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's before I got into the stock market. And
It was
everything.
Goodies and Peebles.
Yeah, well, Goodies kind of made a small bounce back, and now they're closing the rest of them.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyways, enough about Jeff Bezos and Amazon. Let's talk a little bit about social justice or anger that's going on in the
Yeah.
world.
The kind of what got all this going
Yeah.
was just the
The divide.
the deep divides. It goes back to the tribalism. You know, you're either for something or you're against it. You know, it's not like you might agree with it, but if you're not gung ho standing up for it, you know, you're against it. You know, that type
Well, I
of
think that's
mentality.
the mainly conservatives are that way. I believe it's liberals that are more, if you don't agree with me, they're the PC culture. It's the liberals that are doing it. They're the ones that are like
It has
burning
gotten-
stuff down. You know,
And
they're
that's
like,
not, I wouldn't say that liberals were like burn it down. That's not protesting.
well,
That's looting and rioting, and that's two separate.
but
things.
you see how the media spins it.
Yeah.
Mostly peaceful protests with a burning building in the back.
Well, during the day, they are peaceful. There's
Yeah.
nothing burning during the day when they have all those thousands of people,
But
and then when the sun goes down,
can
you've got
we-
those people who stick around and break everything.
Can we admit, though, that the media, even sitting there, standing there, said mostly peaceful protest with a building burning in the background?
Oh, I have not seen that personally.
But they
But
have.
They do
And-
talk about how they are mostly peaceful because the protests themselves are peaceful. It's the rioting and the looting
Like
and all
Chad.
that stuff after that is.
like Chad. I mean, like 4 or 5 people have died inside Chad. Chop. That 4 or 5 people have died inside Chop already.
That's not there anymore. They cleared that out.
Okay, but they
Yeah, I
did
know it got
die.
out of hand.
It got out of hand from the get-go. And Martin Luther King, when he protested and did the walks for social injustice,
It was peaceful.
it was
protesting.
peaceful. It never, ever got out of hand. Why? Because they had a control of what they were doing.
No, the
And
violent people in that one were actually the white people.
Yeah.
They were the ones assaulting them
assaulting
and tearing
and stuff, but
down.
did you see what when Martin Luther King marched, he got civil rights done. Okay. Nothing ever comes with violence. Like, you can't attack violence with violence.
I was like, I don't at all agree with sacking neighborhoods, breaking into stores and stealing everything, destroying things. Now, I can understand the underlying aggravation that causes that, but I don't agree with the behavior
Yeah.
at all.
Well,
And
I can
everybody who legitimately wants change, and they're not for all these people who like George Floyd's family and Breonna Taylor's family, and all of them have come out and said, do not do this, do not destroy things in my son's
Then
or
why
daughter's
is that
name.
not the number one headline going on when it comes to the media?
Well, they do report it, but then there's still stuff being destroyed, so that's what's on television.
I just believe even
And it's distorted. I mean, really, what's being reported.
and what goes on is totally distorted, no matter if you are on the left or if you're
Well, yeah,
on the right.
what they're gonna show is what's gonna get them the ratings.
And that's what I think's wrong with it's the media's agenda is control. As you go back to Jeff Bezos owning the Washington Post or owning the newspaper, why does he need to own that? It's what they want you to hear. It's what they want you to see. Like, people are getting banned for going against their agenda, and I don't know, you gotta separate the far left or the left with the right. But it just seems to me like the left does not want to stand up and say, hey, don't do this. It was months before Biden took a stand against the protest, and even said that there were protests. And this is how I see it. I just see that
But
they were for it.
for everything that
They had-
I have heard, I tend towards media.
Yeah.
Everything that I watch, they have made the distinction between the protest and the looting, saying that these are two separate issues. There's nothing wrong with the protests because they're not hurting anybody. They're peaceful. They're just marching, going about their business like it's intended. But then there are these people who want to cause trouble, and they're not doing it out of, I'm gonna do this, it's gonna force change. It's straight reaction.
What I'm saying is the people that are marching and doing the protests the right way, that need to, when they see people doing that, they need to, hey,
Well, a lot of these people aren't marching anymore.
they're just rioting.
But what I'm saying is, like, a lot of these cities had curfews in place. The peaceful people went home. The people who wanted to loot and break things and start fires,
See, that's one thing I
they
don't agree with.
stayed.
I don't agree that you should have a curfew in a city. If somebody
Well, it's
told
for
me,
safety
well,
purposes. It's not
I would
here. It's
break
not
the
all the
I
time.
would break the curfew in that city if I lived in that city, because if I needed to do this or that, I'm going to do it as an American.
Well, they're not going to arrest you for breaking it.
Yeah, but I just don't agree with the curfew.
But they only enact it when they feel like it might be dangerous to be out there after dark because people are angry.
Yeah.
And I understand they are angry, rightfully so, because they're angry at something terrible that's happened.
I don't believe that people are angry. The people that's on the ground protesting, like in CHOP, I don't believe that they even know they got a different agenda than the agenda that they say is for equality. I don't believe.
CHOP is like its own little world there. It's the people who took it to an extreme.
Are not for equality.
It became a different argument there. It was solely against police in general.
Yeah.
They didn't want it. It was a
And
police-free zone.
defund the police.
and
And
that's a
they-
whole other. We have to get into that like another episode because that is a whole other discussion.
But we are trying to, as getting back to what we're trying to do, we are trying to understand each other.
Yeah, as I was saying,
And there's been a lot of times in our messaging back and forth that I've wanted to pull my hair out, or you've wanted to pull your hair out.
Mhm.
Like, I cannot believe you just said this. Or, really?
like, how could you believe?
Like, I actually, with the, when you was gonna, FaceTime me, I was like, I think I got mad at you for a second. And I was like, I cannot believe her. And then I had to take a step back from that.
Wait,
And
what?
when you was gonna FaceTime me over me saying that there's not systemic racism.
Oh, that was just because I had so many. I was in a room with 3 other people.
Yeah.
We were talking about it, and they were like, well, was it this, and what does he believe that, and ask him this. And I was just like, I can't do all this over text. Like, and one of them just said, well, let's call him.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I don't mind you calling me doing that or anything. I was mad at just like, I guess what they were saying kind of got under my skin. And
they were 3 black women.
they kind of got under my skin and made me mad.
What you were saying
Was
got under
make
their
their
skin.
And that's where you gotta take a step back, like I did,
Mm-hmm.
and go, okay, we're not gonna do this. I would like to meet them one
Like,
day.
you can't get defensive about it. You've got to have a rational conversation and at least understand where they're coming from. Even if you never are going to agree,
Yes.
you need to understand their perspective.
And I believe, and I see in most cases, that the right watches both liberal politics and conservative. Yeah.
Not in my experience.
Well,
like I said, I am
in
a
my
lone liberal in a conservative family, and they will pluck their eyeballs out before they watch CNN.
well, I watch MSNBC, CNN. I'm not going to pluck my own eyebrows out, but how many times do I swap the channel over to see what they're saying about something else on a?
And I think that's important.
You just want to get different opinions.
I was gonna say, you can't live in a bubble
Yeah,
because
and I
You're
believe
only- you're
the
only
liberals,
reinforcing what you already believe.
not all liberals, but 90% of liberals live in a bubble, especially these politicians. Well, all politicians live in a bubble, but they're not in touch with people on the ground. And most liberals
the
are not
majority of
like you.
people, just regular everyday people in the country, tend toward liberal beliefs. I'm not talking about extremes, just in general.
Yeah.
They do. And they're in touch with what is
Well,
happening.
yeah. But I'm talking about. I don't think that they listen to a conservative piece or people that's conservative. I don't believe people listen to a Hannity or Tucker Carlson.
I can't sit through them.
And Tucker Carlson is like,
He's the most hateful human being on television.
well, he's also he got more ratings than the NBA did.
Because people love to hear him
Spew.
spout his hate. He just reinforces the worst instincts. The same way that
I believe he believes, a lot of Americans believe the way Tucker Carlson believes, and it's the silent majority believes that way, believes how he believes. And they hear him say that, and that is why they go to watch him.
I don't know. He 100% sends the message that everyone that is not white is out to get you.
I've never heard him say anything that like where he's racist. Like, what has he said that's racist? That he's racist?
He straight out spent weeks on the people who migrate from South America up to Mexico, and he called them invading forces.
They
and
were
how-
invading.
They were invading. They make
Then
that.
why not go through the border? Why cross over?
They make
not at-
that.
They crossed over into America, not at a point of entry.
But
entry.
that what they were making it out like that huge horde of people were coming for the U.S. They weren't, though. A select few were going to move on from Mexico, but the majority of those people were moving from South America to Mexico for work for the season. And it happens yearly, and it has for years now.
Yeah.
And
Okay, I can see.
every year since Trump has taken office, it's become an invading force of migrants.
No, let's go back now. The caravan.
That is who I'm talking
Yes. Okay. The caravan actually. These people are in flip flops. You don't go to work in flip flops. So you're not going to work.
They didn't have anything. They're so poor. They don't have anything. That's why they're having to leave to find work. They wear literally what they have, and they carry
Them
what
people,
they have.
if you can pull them up, them people look like they were well took care of, and a lot of them look like they haven't been missing a meal. Like they were just as healthy as Americans.
Tons of people died on that.
Where you see
trail.
Americans are obese, most Americans are obese. There was a lot of them that were obese, and was they not? What, you don't think so?
I don't remember seeing a lot of obese people.
Well, they were healthy, and this was put on. They were getting paid. There was tractor trailers and food, people bringing food to them, and they were busing them, and then they would get out and walk for the news source, and then get back on the bus and drive. They were riding on the back of 18-wheelers. You didn't see them riding on the back of 18-wheelers.
I saw where some people were being picked up and given rides. But they had already walked and walked and walked.
There's also like the stack of bricks that they had out there at one of these protests. Where the stack of bricks got dropped off.
Mm-hmm.
It was just there. It's like, who paid for that stack of bricks to be there? Like they paid
somebody
for that.
Who
was
banking on there being trouble. Somebody following their worst instincts and
I
grabbing what was
think that's where the migration, the caravan, comes from. It comes from people wanting them to caravan up here, telling them to caravan up here because they want the worst. You know, you don't.
They want the worst what?
They want the worst to happen. They want.
But what is happening?
Illegals are coming in the fall, the destruction of America as a society.
But you do realize that 90+% of people who are in America illegally are just people who have overstayed their visa. They come in legally.
Yeah.
Like the border is not a migrant issue. It's a drug trafficking issue.
Yeah.
Issue because the wall ain't stopping them. They just tunnel right underneath it.
Well, the wall's not supposed to stop them, in per se. It's supposed to be a deterrent to slow them down, so they can have time to see, catch, deploy. You know.
Yeah, but they're not coming like over the wall. You're not gonna see them. They're under the ground. They're tunneling underneath it.
Yeah,
That's how El Chapo was doing it for years.
yeah. That's how he escaped.
Mhm.
Is digging tunnels underground.
Yeah, and that's
And-
always, and they come through ports. They're starting to, or they have started monitoring those.
But that goes back
Closer.
to, if you was wanting to come to America, you would go through a port of entry instead of just crossing
But if
over.
you don't have the time or resources to get a passport, you are desperate. What are you gonna do then?
You go through a port of entry.
Then they're not gonna let you go through. Then what?
They take them in.
But they no, because they said that
They
they were
had
gonna.
people taking them in, saying that you had to go through a port of entry.
But they said they're not. They cut off all the what do you call it when they're political asylum? They were cutting off all asylum seekers. They were gonna stop accepting them because there was too many. But then at that point, what choice do you have? And I'm not saying illegal
Well, we can't-
immigration
we
is
can't
good.
We can't take
But-
everybody.
I know, and I agree. But when you listen to what people like Tucker Carlson have to say, it increases the fear and the dislike of those people.
I don't think that conservatives dislike people coming to America. We got a guy at my work that
Dude, you
is
could
Guatemalan.
really listen to some of the videos online of people yelling, "Go back to your country, you're not from here." They're all over the internet.
Yeah, but that's just them people. I don't know. I can't speak for them, but I'm not. He said that this guy that I work with actually said that he did not want them coming to America. That the people coming to America from that caravan are bad people, and he's from Guatemala. From Guatemala, he lived down there. He's in America now, working for us, getting his he's on visa, and he's getting his citizenship to be an American. And he literally told me that do not let him in. And this is
Well, I'm not saying
this is a guy that did it.
they
you know,
all should
getting in.
necessarily get in, but I understand the desperation behind I have to have something better for my child.
Yeah.
Like that
That's
one
why
guy
Trump's
who,
family came over here.
That's like that one guy who tried to cross the river with his little girl on his back and they both drowned. That was an act of true desperation to try to get across that river, the Rio Grande. And it's unfortunate that you have to get to that level of desperation to feel like that's what you have to do.
There's, I don't know, there's just other ways to go about it. And you can, I'm
I'm not saying there wasn't another way, but we will never feel that level of desperation. Our country is not in the state that their countries are in.
No, but if we keep going down this liberal agenda, this liberal communism agenda that the left wants to take us down, there's a possibility. It wasn't just in 2012 that Venezuela was good country. Their people were making money, they were healthy, and nothing was wrong. If we keep on going down this communist country, we will be like them.
I don't think the majority of people are for communism.
Well, they're for socialism.
a select few of the far left wing are, not mainstream
That's
left
who.
party.
That's who runs the. In my opinion, that's who's running the party. Is the Bernie Sanders, the AOCs, the people like that.
If that were running the party, why haven't they got somebody as a candidate yet?
Well, I don't know, because Hillary Clinton stole it from Bernie a couple years ago. I mean, she stole it right out from under Bernie, poor Bernie Sanders. And that.
But Bernie, the young people would vote for Bernie, but
Well, I think he's already had his chance.
that's well, yes, but the majority of people, I don't think Bernie could have won the popular vote. He's too extreme left for the majority of people in the country right now.
I don't know if he would have won the popular. It's not the electoral vote that you got
Well,
to him.
yeah.
I saw a picture the other day on the internet, and it was if your vote counted, and it showed how big California was, how big Texas was, and how big Florida was, and it shows all of us little bitty states, and it was the size if your vote counted like not electoral college, but the popular vote counted. That California, Texas, Florida, Ohio, New York would be all its voting, and your vote would go to just a little bitty line that's across there. I had to get her to pull that picture up later on, but all in all, as we go to wrap this up, we are going to continue to talk about debates, issues like this. We're going to go into more depth on issues,
My headphones just went out.
and we are going to go into more depth on these issues, talk about these issues more, and
But
have
we're
a
also going to touch more on pop culture too.
yes.
It's not just political.
It's not going to be just political, also, and we're going to have a more of a structure, I guess. That way, we just ain't rambling on everywhere as we go.
I think it's segmented.
Yeah, we'll get that better too. But if you enjoy hearing debates and hot topics coming from the left and the right, conservative versus liberal, and you'd like to see more of it, hit the like, subscribe to our channel. We're on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify,
Podcast
Tracker, and we're going to be on all the social medias. And to the 20th subscriber on YouTube, you will be receiving a shirt. See if we can get that in there. Our Cultural Vulturescast shirt, and that's it. I hope you enjoyed, and till next time.